My older brother Bill lay unconscious on the lawn in front of my house, motionless as a log, only breathing hoarsely. I stood there and looked at the cars in my gravel driveway. I saw my parents sitting in my father's green SUV. The mother, leaning against her father's shoulder, cried. My in-laws were in their blue SUV. Behind their shocked faces loomed the face of my slutty wife, Anna. I kissed the fist, waved it, and then waved for them to come over. It seemed like no one else wanted to come out. It's a pity. Bill groaned and stirred. It took a while, but he finally managed to get up. At that moment, I punched him in the stomach, sending him to the ground again, this time on all fours. Enough! I heard my father scream. Raising my head, I saw that he was standing on the ground behind the open door. Bill was still trying to breathe. I gave my father the middle finger. Fuck off, old man, or do you want to be next? Then I kicked my brother, knocking him unconscious again. I heard my mother moan. The father climbed back into the Jeep. I knew why. He never went anywhere without his shotgun. As soon as he closed the door, a shot rang out and his side mirror exploded. Everyone screamed and ducked down. My father put down his gun and raised his hands. I just want to talk, son. That's all. You had the opportunity, but you chose Bill. He is also our son. We were just trying to save the family, said the father, slowly approaching me and holding his hands in front of him. Listen, old man, so be it. I'll sit in a chair on the veranda while you drag this pathetic namesake off my lawn. No more shots, son? I raised my right hand and clenched it into a fist. My father turned around and walked back to his SUV. I turned around, walked up to the house, and sat down in a comfortable chair on the open veranda. My parents got out of the car and walked towards me. Before they had time to go halfway, my sniper appeared. She came out the front door with a .22 rifle and sat on my lap. Renee! Mom gasped, covering her mouth with her hands. Hearing the car door slam, I raised my head. Get away, bitch, from my husband! He's mine! He's mine! Anna shouted, running up to us. Bill had already stood up, leaning on his father. You took a lot of my money and embezzled it, Bill said. Shut the hell up, Bill. You brought this on yourself, my father replied. Renee and I laughed. You're wrong. I exchanged the money for my 6 extra centimeters of manhood in my pants and the ability to last longer, I replied. No! Anna screamed. We watched as she ran up to Bill and hit him from behind, right in the groin. Bill fell to the ground again. Anna fell to her knees next to him and pounded her fists on his face. You idiot! It's all your fault! She repeated, until her parents pulled her away from him. My parents' attention was focused on Bill, their firstborn, their famous son, their rich son. Bill was selected by the Anaheim Angels in the 8th round of the Major League Baseball draft. He spent his first season in the Tri-City and Rocket City teams. He spent his second season as a pitcher in Salt Lake City before signing for a third. Bill spent 6 seasons with Anaheim before retiring. During his 9-year career, Bill earned $26+ million and continued to make money from sponsorship deals. Every year he received 6 figures and a new truck from a car dealership, as well as 5 figures from a bank and a local brewery. This is just what I know about. He bought our parents new cars and paid for their house. He always flaunted his money and fame, but he treated me like crap because I wasn't as athletic as him. He always got his way and believed that everything should belong to him. As for me, I make $65,000 a year as an HVAC technician. Over the past 3 years, I've made just over $37,000 from my ebook sales. I wasn't a millionaire, but I made enough to pay the bills. We took a short vacation every year. We didn't have much savings. It seems that this was not enough for Anna. Bill stood again, but this time with his knees bent and his shoulders hunched. Why are you so angry at me, Sean? She sold herself like a slut for a couple of bucks. You idiot! I'll rip your head off! Anna screamed at Bill, trying to break free from her father's grip. My brother Bill took a few steps back. He straightened up and began to shout, I'm Bill McIntosh! I'm rich! I'm famous! Why do I need all this crap? It wasn't a couple of bucks. It was 2 marriages and $10,000, Renee shouted. It was just 1 marriage, you husband-stealing bitch. We're still married, Anna shouted. Only on paper, but not in my heart, I answered. I've been looking for you for 3 years, Sean. Doesn't that mean anything? Anna begged. You're the one who means nothing to me from the moment I found out that you slept with my brother. You've had your revenge. Now please come home, Sean. I'll do whatever you ask. Forgive me, I'm so sorry, she begged. There was a pause in the air as everyone waited for my answer. And then everyone's attention was attracted by the babbling of children. Mom! Mom! The nanny and our son were approaching along the path. I put the rifle behind the chair. Everyone except Renee and I watched in stunned silence as our son excitedly walked up the porch steps and fell into Renee's arms. I approached the nanny to thank her and pay her. When I returned, I saw Anna on her knees and crying. Her parents consoled her while trying to help her get up. My parents stood in complete shock. Mom covered her mouth with her hands. The father just watched. Bill had an arrogant grin on his face. I walked up to my chair, and my son held out his hands to me. I took him in my arms, hugged Renee, and looked around at everyone present in the yard. This is our son, Declan Oliver McIntosh, I announced proudly. While the mother was leading the sobbing Anna to the car, her father climbed onto the porch. He extended his hand. I'm sorry it ended like this. Me too, I answered, shaking his hand. As he walked to his car to leave, my brother muttered, I can't believe that there was at least someone who decided to give birth to this snotty bastard. Suddenly, we saw my mother turn around and hit Bill in the face as hard as she could. Don't you dare talk about my grandson like that again. My brother took a few steps back from the slap, clutching his face. It's time to put Declan to bed. Get out of my territory, I said, and headed into the house. Renee and I gave Declan a bath and put him in his pajamas. We let him choose a book, and while Renee read to him, I checked for monsters in the closet and under the bed. After kissing him goodnight, we went into the living room and sat on the sofa. We took off our shoes and socks and perched our feet on the coffee table. It had been a tiring day, even without taking into account the commotion caused by the uninvited guests. Renee took my hand and kissed it. I kissed her hand back. We looked at each other and smiled. How's your hand? Fine. It may not be nice of me, but I really enjoyed seeing you kick arrogant Bill's ass, Renee said with a smile. Is it true? Renee stood up and, smiling at me, lowered her pants and thong to the floor. Wow, this looks amazing, I remarked as I took off my pants and boxers. Renee then walked over to the couch and hugged me tightly. She was already ready to accept my caresses, and I gave them with great pleasure. After a few minutes of my masterful work, she kissed me passionately, and our feelings flared up with greater force. It was just shameless, wild sex. Half an hour later, Renee and I were lying in an embrace on the sofa, wrapped in a large and soft Afghan blanket, sewn by our neighbor. Basking in the rays of climactic bliss, Renee gently kissed me on the lips. I think it's time to start making Declan a brother or sister, she said. How about we start with the honeymoon? I replied. Renee sat down with her elbow on my leg. She looked at me, chewing her lower lip. She will fight against divorce. If it does, then we will resist it together, as one family. As she leaned in to kiss me, we heard heavy snoring from the baby monitor on the coffee table, and we both burst out laughing. He snores exactly like his mother. Giggling, she slapped my chest. You're such an asshole, but I'm your asshole, future Mrs. Sean McIntosh. Exactly so, damn it, she said, and kissed me deeply, passionately. I don't want to wait for the honeymoon. Take me right now and for the rest of my life. And what else could I say except, yes, dear. Subscribe to our channel so that your second chaff doesn't cheat on you, and go ahead and listen to the next story, because this story is nothing compared to the next one. If you're under 18, don't even think about listening to the next one. Listening to the